Hi, welcome to a quick tutorial about thoracic spine posture, which is the placement of the ribs in the front and the shoulder blades in the back. I often refer to closing your ribs off or keeping your ribs closed, and people say, what do you mean by that? And what I mean is you think about the bottom tips of your ribs here, pulling across the front of the body and going into the opposite front pockets if you were wearing jeans. And then you think about the same thing in the back, the bottom tips of the shoulder blades crossing along the mid-back and then going into the opposite back pockets if you are wearing jeans. And it's important to think about both of these in conjunction with each other, because if you're only thinking about one, you're going to throw that posture off. And what I often see is that if people try to close their ribs off, they close their ribs and then they get hunched here. And then if they think about just their shoulder blades, they get a little too much extension here. And so what you want to think about is that you have the abs lifting in the center, the ribs pulling across in the front, and the shoulder blades pulling across in the back. And what that does is it gives you nice wide collarbones, it activates through the back of the body, and it's keeping the upper abs connected as well as the lower abs. So these are your upper abs pulling these ribs down and across, lower abs tight, shoulder blades pulling down the back. And it looks like this. And we're going to do it one more time from a different angle. And so it looks like your ribs are connecting too much. Your shoulder blades are connecting. And then both come into a nice connected position. Here's what that looks like lying down. So now we're lying on our back and we're going to see how this affects our work on the mat. I want you to make sure you're in your neutral pelvis because that is one of the key components to good posture. And from here, what you see oftentimes is people, even if they're neutral pelvis, if they're closing their ribs, they do this. And so it's putting a lot of tension in the front of my neck and it's closing off my collarbone. And you see how my shoulder blade, my scapula is peeling off the mat. And then if people are over pulling their shoulder blades and their ribs pop out, you have this big space under your lumbar spine. And often when people say, oh, my neutral pelvis doesn't feel right, it's not because their pelvis isn't correct, it's because their rib cage is incorrect, because the shoulder blades are over firing and the ribs are not connecting. And so the proper position here, find that neutral pelvis, feel that crossing of the bottom tips of the rib cage into the front pockets, the bottom tips of the shoulder blades into the back pockets, and then you have a nice connection throughout your torso. So I have my lower abs firing with my neutral pelvis, my upper abs firing to try to connect my ribs, and then my shoulder blades pulling down the back is firing that back line of my body. So I'm getting that serratus that stabilizes the shoulder blade, a little bit of lat pulling down, a little bit of your mid and lower trap anchoring. My collarbones are wide, my neck is nice and relaxed. I feel the back of that rib cage on the mat. And this is where you can go ahead and bring those arms up and start your ab work. Notice here, if my elbows drop, my ribs pop. So shoulder blades down, elbows are in my peripheral, and my ribs are nice and connected. So that is a quick little tutorial on what we want the front line of the ribs and the back line of the shoulder blades doing in order to find our proper posture. Shaggy agrees. See you next time.